thing first is this Jerry Jones topic. Now, y'all saw the picture?
Yeah.
The photo? All right, so there was a photo taken in 1957 that show a bunch of white students that are at North Little Rock High School attempting to block black students from entering the school following new laws about their segregation, desegregating the schools. Now, in this picture, it's a whole bunch of white students in the picture that are preventing the black students from entering. The only one that really that's highlighted is Jerry Jones. You can see Jerry Jones in the photo, standing behind some of these kids that are there in order to stop other black students from integrating the school. Now, we talking about it because Lebron came out recently and he had some things to say to the reporters about it when they started asking him questions. He wanted to know why they hadn't asked him specifically about this Jerry Jones situation. I don't want to stay here on it, but that's why I brought the subject up. So I'm going to start with you. What do you think about this photo, and do you think LeBron was right to shed light on this at a time he was supposed to be having a press conference about his game?
I think LeBron was right and wrong. I think the sentiments of his message was right, but it's two ways you can look at that. LeBron don't play football.
Right.
LeBron hasn't said anything about this football incident before.
Wait, so are you saying there was no connection for them to have asked him about this?
For him to have to ask him, right? Because he doesn't play football, he didn't speak on it, and it's not a nationwide thing. The reason why the reason why LeBron and the NBA had to speak on Colin Kaepernick and stuff like that is because they took that stand as well.
Right.
They backed him up on that. So now you made yourself a part of the conversation. We have to ask you about what's going on in the NFL. But now that this is not the situation and it's just some older shit, I don't necessarily have to ask you because you don't play in the NFL, you play in the NBA, and this has nothing to do with the NFL.
Right.
I'll look at it, I want to say, hey, this is old. Like, it's, you know what I'm saying, Jerry Jones was 14.
Yeah. So
we got to be careful about how accountable we hold people for shit that's this old.
Hey, hold on.
But at the same time,
that's a huge point right there. He's 14 years old now.
Which makes him a product of his environment. He's not an adult. Look, you got two kids. You got a daughter. Right. Y'all raising those kids and instilling beliefs in them that y'all see fit.
Right.
The beliefs that y'all instilling in them, they wasn't born with that. They didn't say, "Hey, Daddy, I want to be a Christian."
And they may change as they get older.
You know what I'm saying? So let's say just randomly that one of the beliefs that y'all instilled in them in today's time is acceptable, but 30 years from now it's unacceptable.
Right.
And they've changed and become a part of the new society. Mm-hmm. Can I then bash them 30 years from now because of some beliefs that you instilled in them that they had no choice to live by as a kid?
Right.
Now, if we're talking about Jerry Jones being 23, 24, then I have to hold you completely accountable. You were an adult making your own decisions.
Yeah.
But as a 14-year-old, your parents have taught you we don't rock with segregation, or we're Christians, or we're Muslims, or whatever. So when you, as a 14-year-old, portray yourself,
desegregation,
stand on exactly. Okay. He's just standing on what his parents taught him. We can't really be mad at him for that.
To add to his point, what was this, 57? 50?
Yeah, 1957.
What do you expect from them?
In Arkansas. Like, so come on. Like,
now, if he doing this in 2022, then I'm saying, bro, you racist.
Yeah.
But do you agree with what he said about the LeBron situation? Like, he was right to speak on it, but they didn't have a reason to ask him about it because it's not basketball related?
Yeah, I agree with that as well. You know what I'm saying? You have nothing to do with NFL politics.
Right.
Leave that alone.
Let me give you some examples. When Simone Biles, when they was like, oh, you can't compete because you just too damn good and nobody can match your scores, so we got to put you at a disadvantage. Y'all ain't gonna ask LeBron about that shit. You wanna know why? Because he is not a gymnast. He ain't no damn gymnast. But that was some black shit though. That was all because she was black, if we being honest.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, I get it. And I think that y'all right as far as the LeBron situation, but I think if I stay right where y'all at with it, I would be ignoring that LeBron is bigger than basketball, yo. Like, we can't sit here and act like if it's not basketball related, it's not Bron, because Bron. Hold on, because Bron get asked these questions all the time. Now, I think all it takes is for the media to be able to create one connection.
That's
LeBron's connection with Jerry Jones is easily made because LeBron grew up a fan of the Cowboys and has been like He's been telling everybody about that shit. More recently, the latest story that hit about LeBron's fandom with the Cowboys is when he dropped fandom of the Cowboys due to how Jerry Jones reacted to Colin Kaepernick and how what he said to his players would happen if they kneeled. After that, LeBron went public with denouncing fanhood from him. So it would have been real easily.
Can I call bullshit?
Well, I haven't made my point yet. No. Whether that's true or false, I don't care about that. I'm speaking to the connection that can be made.
I just think that is invalid. Because when Jerry Jones said what he said about Colin Kaepernick, that shit was 5 years ago. LeBron was still a fan of the Cowboys until a couple months ago. So if they saying, oh, LeBron dropped his fandom because of whatever,
I don't think he said. No, I think they asked him about it, and he said that he's no longer a fan of the Cowboys. I don't think he picked the time that he was starting that interview to decide he wasn't. Okay. I think he decided before, and then they asked him about it is what happened. And so, but I only said that to say I think there is a connection, and since LeBron is bigger than basketball, I don't think it's far-fetched to ask him about it. So but despite all of that, I like that he brought the conversation back full circle because I saw fit to talk about that shit. Right. So let's talk about Jerry Jones. When I say LeBron is bigger than basketball, I'm not necessarily saying he should speak on these things, but I hold the opinion that LeBron got the power to promote change. The same way, remember we was talking about Kanye? I acknowledge that he's bigger than what he does as a profession too. He's a figure now. He stands for he means something in the culture. You can't even write about the things that he do you can't write about the history of it and how it's changed without speaking about these specific guys. I don't agree with. Exactly. And so I only say he's bigger than basketball to say he's entered a bunch of different realms and his voice has the power to influence change. LeBron's business has the power to influence change.
It sounds crazy, but I don't like that. I mean, of course we all want to influence change, but like I said, LeBron a man. And the moment his emotions change or his feelings change and it doesn't align with what I think, now I have to say, oh, fuck LeBron. I think when LeBron speaks, whatever he says it should be valid, but I think it should only be valid for him. LeBron's voice doesn't mean shit for me. Yeah. How LeBron feels about what Jerry did does not speak for how I feel for what Jerry did. And I think that's the predicament or the place that we put these people in, i.e. why we so mad at Kanye, because it seems like when he get out here and do this outlandish shit that he's speaking for us black people and he really not.
Yeah. Right. Let's go past that and talk about the point that he made.
Right.
The point that he made was that they asked him a lot of times about to speak on Kyrie, Ime Udoka, these things that happen when black figures get into some trouble, right? And when this happened with Jerry Jones, it was almost like nothing. LeBron's point was that was what you see in that picture is a moment of history that black people went through, and you just see that picture of that. But there's this woman, I didn't write her name down, but there's this woman that's notorious for a photo that went viral years ago before they called it going viral. She's this woman, she's a little girl walking to school in New Orleans, and there are white people all on the street on her way to school antagonizing her. And I say that to say I really like his point. I think that he made a point to turn it around and say we need to talk about this shit, and because when it's us, y'all give it a lot of attention. Am I spot on or am I far off?
Right. I would think you spot on from a network's perspective.
I agree that it needs to be talked about. You know what I mean? And LeBron being of his caliber, he makes a great point, especially saying when it's black people, y'all want to make it this big thing. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's big. And stuff with somebody as big as Jerry Jones is yeah, we seen it. Okay. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Hey, for the record, look.
Imagine when the white shit happened with the white guy in Phoenix. That shit was big. With the white guy in the Clippers in LA, that shit was big. So we're not gonna act like white people just not getting held accountable in today's time.
Yeah.
We can't push that off like that. When black people do it, we say this, but when white people, that's not true. It's just that they didn't intermingle the NFL and the NBA. But if you take out
they definitely asked Dak Prescott and a couple of other NFL players about that.
You see what I'm saying? Okay. So, but when the basketball shit happened with Phoenix, the Phoenix owner and Donald Sterling way back, they asked LeBron about that shit. And these are prominent white figures.
Right.
They just didn't intermingle the the two businesses, but it was still covered on both sides of the ball.
Some more background info. After this photo was taken, the black students that were trying to enter this school were pushed back down those stairs and were forcefully turned away and not able to integrate the schools like the laws had required. Jerry Jones, in his comments about this photo, he starts talking about how he says that there's no way people there knew what was going to escalate from that situation. In his own words, we didn't have 70 years of history to look at. Contrary to his point, days before this event, there was a standoff right outside this school where there were actual National Guard troops that were with these anti-desegregationists, and they stood firm blocking black students from entering that school. National Guard troops were with them and helping to not allow black students into this school.
Bro, this shit is groupthink to me. If I'm being completely honest, y'all may not share the same sentiment that I share, but this shit is groupthink, and I think it's bullshit. This was 100 years ago. 100 years ago. If he was... we've all said some shit back in the day. I'm pretty sure we've been on Twitter when it first started and said some outlandish shit or some shit about women that we probably wouldn't hold the same sentiment for today. Right. All of that. And we don't want to be judged by that. That was 10 years ago when Twitter started in 2014. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? This was 60 years ago for this man. Now if he's still portraying racist actions and shit, then hold him accountable.
He says he wasn't a part of the mob. What he says is that he was looking.
Either way,
and he's seen looking too. So it ain't no way to say that ain't right. You know what I mean? I'm gonna ask you first, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the most, how much accountability do you place at a 14-year-old Jerry Jones in this picture?
I'd say I give him a 1.
1?
I give him a 1 on
what
that. Just based on
age and how long ago it was,
where he was, you know what I mean, and the time it was then. I give him a 1, bro. Like, you're gonna be a part of some shit that you probably ain't gonna really agree with. Like, even if you don't even know you being a part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
I give him a 1 on that, bro.
What about you?
I'm gonna go with a 2. And 2 or a 3, and the only reason I would go with that is because I gotta add humanity into the fact. I already said that his beliefs were based off of what he was raised and put into him. Yeah. So that's why I can't hold him completely accountable. But when you kick in that humanity and you see how people are being treated, I don't want to see nobody being hurt. Right. I'll cry like a dead ass in today's time for seeing somebody being hurt. So then your humanity gotta kick in and be like, oh nah, that ain't right, and I ain't taking part of that. Yeah. That's the only reason. That's where them 2 points come from.
I'm gonna say, for me, it's got to be at least a 5. I'm gonna say 5 though, because I kind of see a pattern of behavior here now. Not that this was part of it in the sense to where it happened so long ago, but when I look at that, for all the reasons that y'all would have gave it such low scores, I look at that and give it a low score too. But Jerry Jones, this is a guy who more recently, when this came out, they've highlighted his failure to ever hire a black coach for his organization in 33 years. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's here, maybe that's there. But
that gotta play a part.
That plays a part in there.
You're right.
There's also I didn't like how he handled the Colin Kaepernick situation.
I didn't like how a lot of people handled that Colin
Kaepernick situation. But specifically for Jerry Jones went out there and told people he told his guys that we don't do that here. If y'all are to kneel, there are gonna be some consequences for it.
Now I'm not saying that you always a victim of groupthink, but I know that you're a prominent Texans fan.
Yeah.
Did the Texas owner not do this same shit? You still a Texans fan?
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to have a segment about the,
I'm just saying, hold your team the same accountable. Hold your team accountable the same way you hold Jerry Jones.
Respectfully, I do.
That's it. That's
just not what we're talking about here.
You right.
I do. I think the ownership group there is shit for a few reasons. That's just not the topic at hand.
Yeah.
So if it's about Jerry Jones, I add these things into it when I go to that scale as to how much accountability I give him.
Right.
And I would love to see this old dude eventually like reach down and he's been around so many black guys, like especially the ones that have made him so much money. You'd like to think he got such a good relationship with Playmaker that be on First Take and I heard he got a good relationship with Prom, so
This is business though, bro.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. I hope at some point we can start to see a Jerry Jones that don't seem to stray away from black people and try to keep the same system he's always benefited from in place. For that reason, I gotta label it a 5, and it could go up it could go up, but in this situation, he was 14 years old. I would hate for people to judge me by my tweets on Twitter from 14.
I think that we're in a hella sensitive culture, and that fucks up a lot for us.
Yes.
I agree that certain things are wrong and should be addressed, but you got to be realistic with your demands and your expectations of certain things. Jerry Jones is a white billionaire, probably surrounded by 99% other white rich people, if not billionaires, white rich people. Imagine how many black people outside of the low-level football players that he employed does he interact with. And so we have to talk about you know what I'm saying, like you expecting him to be like, oh, I'm pulling for this or I'm pushing for this, when he has no real connection to our culture.